And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we are going to react to the roommates who is talking with Stephen Speaks. Right? Stephen Speaks. Stefan Speaks. Sorry. And they're talking about when women say he was the bad guy. Now, normally this is a video that I would do on the Women of High Value channel, but I thought that I would give you guys a taste of what you learn on the Women of High Value channel for those of you who are not subscribed to that channel yet. I've got 3,300 subscribers on the Men of High Value channel and a little bit over 700 subscribers on the Women of High Value channel, so give me a break. Go over there, Women of High Value channel, pause it right now, and go subscribe to that channel because I want all of you guys, okay, guys, men, to understand what I teach women. Because I'm really teaching you guys indirectly so that you can understand female nature. Female nature is a male science, okay? Once you understand women, you understand the world, okay? And to be honest with you, everything that I know, pretty much, comes from the fact that I've studied the woman. And I've studied femininity and masculinity to the nth degree, probably more so than a lot of other people. Like, I don't know, I can't say the whole, the whole world because I'm quite young still. And, but I'd say that I have probably the healthiest perspective on women, even though people would call me toxic and all that stuff. But anyway, let's get started with the video. Hope you guys are excited, and let's roll.
I literally have a video called "You Will Always Be the Bad Guy," because for men in general, when you don't give that woman what she wanted, she is now going to view you as an F-boy. She is now going to view you in a negative light. Even in scenarios where we discussed what this is and we agreed upon whatever structure, if it doesn't align with what she really wanted, there will still be backlash.
And to Chris's point about how so many women want these top tier men, I also find a struggle of, high character men such as yourself, high value men such as yourself, is that now everyone that you date expects you to marry them.
Oh Lord.
They're laughing. It's not a funny thing, really, to be honest with you guys. Because women are wired a specific way. They're wired to get the highest value man that they can. And once they have the potential, just the potential of getting with a high value man, and he literally shows interest back. In women's brain, they're now building fantasies about the future. This is how women operate, all of them. If they get the highest value man that they can possibly get, okay, and that guy shows interest in them, they begin to fantasize about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the future. Because you got to understand something about female nature or femininity. They're now creatures. What does that mean? Shouldn't that mean that their long-term perspective, that doesn't exist for them if they're now creatures? No. It's actually they're so now creatures, okay? And I say creatures in the wonderful fashion, okay? They're amazing creatures. But they're now creatures in the sense that the past and the future is engulfed in the now. Okay, well, what does that mean? It means that when she's in the now, it is such an intense emotion that she believes that this is going to last forever. Do you see what I'm saying here? She's a now creature, but the past and the present, or the past and the future, is engulfed in the now. Okay, so when a guy is interested in her and sleeps with her in the now, if it's an intense emotion and she is emotionally involved and connected to this guy, they're already married. in her brain and in her heart. She might not say that, she might not think that, but that's what happens to her body. Okay? It's an imprint on her body, and this is why they're talking about it, saying that, you know, the moment a woman is dating a high-value guy, it's like she's expecting you to marry her, and they're like, ha 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 ha. It's not funny. Okay, you sleep with women, take the consequence. You literally, when you sleep with a woman, you're essentially married. From an emotion standpoint, okay? I'm not talking about spiritual, I'm not talking religion here, I'm talking about how female nature works. Joseph, I don't believe you because I've slept with many women who had no interest in me after having sex with me. Yeah, it's because you weren't high value, and she found out pretty quick. If you're the highest value guy that she can get with, who's interested back in her, and there's emotional involvement. Sometimes women have sex with you without there being any emotional involvement. It's risky for women to do that because the moment they're emotionally involved, there's going to be problems if it doesn't last forever. And it never lasts forever, so there's always going to be problems. Unless the man actually knows what he's doing, and then it can actually last forever. But in the majority of cases, we're talking 95% or more of the cases that women sleep around with men, it doesn't last. And if she's emotionally involved, it's going to affect her psyche for a long period of time. Maybe a lifetime, if you're the highest value guy that she's ever been with. Which means, be very wise about whose lives you're destroying. Because if you're sleeping around with women without commitment, and you leave her, you're destroying her life, literally. Not only her life, and I've stated this on multiple occasions, one of the videos that I have on this specific channel, on the Men of High Value channel, is casual sex for women is like Russian roulette. And I'm serious about that. I'm 100% serious. This is how women work. This is why I'm for voluntary celibacy. This is why I'm for semen retention, because I want men to stay the hell away from women until they're ready to stick, until they're ready for lifelong commitment. Not in monogamy, because monogamy sucks and it doesn't work, but in a relationship where women have other women who they are harmonizing with because you know how to have them harmonize. That system is called 3 in Love. If you've never seen me talk about it before, again, go subscribe to the Women of High Value channel to understand what I teach about women. Female nature. Female nature is a male science. Okay, let's keep going. These are awesome guys, okay? But I'm just showing you my immediate reaction to when they're laughing at this. It's really, like, it's messed up. And I hope that all of you guys who are subscribed to this channel, that you're truly high value in the sense that you understand women and you understand the long-term consequences of your actions.
and if you don't marry them, if you choose if you choose to not be with them, now you're the bad guy. Now you let her on.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you heard what I just said? The first 5 minutes of what this video is about. I said, you guys are married. You leaving her now will automatically make you the bad guy. Why? Because you destroyed her life. Okay? This is how it works. These guys don't understand female nature, and this guy, Stefan Speaks, has literally been talking about dating to women for years, and he still doesn't know this.
Now you're not the man in your videos. Now you're not the man you present yourself to be. Now all of a sudden they try to attack you as a man because you don't desire to continue the relationship any further.
Is it high character? Okay, look at his shirt, guys. High character, high value. In many ways, the reason why I'm doing in many ways, the reason why I'm doing this video, doing these reaction videos to the roommates all the time. Why do I do this? Is because they talk about a lot of the stuff that I talk about. They're talking about leveling up. They're talking about, you know, getting your potential in life. They're talking about work ethic. They're talking about blasting through, creating your own businesses, you know, becoming a man, right? And they're basically telling me that they're high value and that they have high character. And then they talk about sleeping with women. For me, that's low character. That's not high character. It's low value men who sleep with women and ditch them and dispense of them. Okay? I made a video on the Women of High Value channel, and I told them the 2 ways to become indispensable to men, or to your man. And the number one aspect, the number one thing I told them out of those 2 things, if you want to become indispensable to men, there's only 2 things you gotta really do. Was it 2 things? I guess it's a bit more things, but there was one thing. The first thing is the most important thing, and that is to find a guy who doesn't dispense of women. This is how a woman becomes indispensable. To find a guy who doesn't dispense of women. He never, ever leaves them. That is a high value guy. Because the moment you emotionally involve a woman into your life and then you go out of her life without her permission, okay? Because that's the thing. Like, if she wants to leave, in many ways, for her psyche, it's a completely different story. Now, that psyche might get ruined in the future when you become the highest value man she's ever been with, because you got to understand that in the present right now, you might suck compared to the guys that she's dating right now, right? But you understand that if you're part of this channel and you're part of the movement, the Men of High Value movement, you probably will eventually become, if you're being coached by me, you will become the highest value man that she's ever been with. You weren't at the time you were dating her, but you will be in the future because you'll be famous. You'll be rich. And then she's going to look at you and be in her freaking stupid monogamous, union that doesn't work very well because by default, monogamy doesn't work. Okay? And what do I mean when I say monogamy doesn't work? I mean exactly the fact that women lose all physical desire for you as a man when you get into a relationship with them that lasts longer than 2 years. Especially if you live with her, especially if you've got kids. Okay? You guys are like thinking, dreaming. I had one client just now who told me that one of his desires in life is to marry an American woman. Now, the American woman, I don't mind. I married an American woman. Awesome. Good on you. The problem I had was marry. And that was like one of the very few dreams that I had a small objection to. Marrying. Do not marry. But Joe, you said that you shouldn't sleep around with women. You shouldn't lead women on. You shouldn't sleep with anyone that you're not committed to for life. Exactly. Voluntary celibacy until you understand female nature, until you've built a strong enough foundation that you can take on 3 women, have them harmonize because you understand how to do that, and then they stick with you for life. You never, ever, ever leave them. But marrying them is a horrible idea, okay? Why? Because it doesn't work. And why does it not work? Because she loses all physical desire. If I told you today that, okay, you're going to get married to the most beautiful woman in the world, okay? Take the most amazing Instagram model. There's one thing, though. She's not going to have any sexual desire for you. She's going to pity you her entire marriage in the sense of like, you're low value, I don't really want anything to do with you, okay? And she's not going to have sex with you. Now, am I saying that all marriages are like that? No, but a lot of them are. And the ones that actually do have intercourse together, it's not very exciting. And I'm not saying that it's more exciting outside of marriage, because that's not true either. Because if you have shallow relationships, and I'm not going to talk about that now, that's a whole nother ballgame, whole other story, but I'm just saying that it's not it's not what you believed it would be. Okay? Could we just put it that way? You create more problems than you've solved when you get married. I'll repeat that. You create more problems than you solve when you get married, the moment you get married. Anyway, so just kind of telling you guys, it's not high value to sleep with women and then dispense of them. Okay? That's making women low value because you were low value. You just increased her partner count, which makes her lower value in a high value man's eyes, by the way. You guys know this. How many guys do you want your future woman to sleep with? Have you thought about that? Yeah, you have, haven't you? Preferably, you know, I'd like her to be a virgin if possible, because I've heard that it's more probable that the marriage is going to be successful if she's a virgin. Yeah, that's right. It's true. It's statistically a fact, which means that you guys actually want women to have as low partner counts as possible. If a low value man, all men who sleep around without lifelong commitment are low value men. If low value men sleep with women and then dispense of the woman, that makes her low value in other men's eyes. Not her fault at all. It's the man's fault for having created that predicament for her. Okay? Now, can she be rescued? Of course. Can a man override his desire for a woman that has had few partner count, like, you know, few partners in the past and less you know, if she has had a lot of baggage and stuff like that, can a high value man come and rescue her and you know, and make it possible for her to basically create a reset button for her? We understand what the reset button is. We understand how it works. Is it possible for a high value man to do that to a woman who's basically gone through a lot of trauma from past experiences with men? Yes, she can be healed. Of course, everyone can be healed. But it created a problem that could have been avoided, right? And she could have remained as high value as she was when she was a virgin. But no, men screwed that up, not her. Okay? Which kind of brings me into what they're going to talk about, but let's keep going.
This is a real problem. I think a lot of women.
This is not a problem. It is not a problem that women call men a bad guy. I don't give them even 5 seconds to talk. Like, it's kind of interesting because if I actually sat there with them, I'd probably spend 5% of the time talking. I'd just be listening and listening and listening, and I'd be observing, and I'd meet them where they're at. Okay, since they're not here with me, I can interrupt them. But basically, it's not a problem if all men are voluntary celibate. Then this issue here, getting women emotionally involved with you, is not a problem. So they've created more problems for themselves. Do you see? This is a problem for the men, not just the women. Because the men are being distracted from their task at hand, from fulfilling their purpose, and from actually creating solutions for the world. They're busy with the problem of, what should I do with all these women who I've slept with, and then they're upset and call me a bad guy, and having no integrity if I leave them. You know, what should we do to solve this problem? What the hell? You shouldn't be talking about this in the first place. You should be out there doing your 80-hour work week. That's the high value thing to do. Take a pause from all the women and don't even think about it. It's not a problem unless you make it a problem. You made it a problem when you began sleeping with her or even started to get her phone number. Is this an emotional response? Maybe. But this is one of the worst things that men can do. Okay? Because they're not destroying just her life. They're destroying the life of her future partner. Okay? And they're destroying the life of their kids. And then they're destroying, because this kid will probably grow up in a divorced home, or if they're not divorced, they're probably emotionally divorced. And so that kid is going to feel neglected, feel lack of attention, and won't get the emotional fulfillment from being in a home where there's massive amounts of love and adoration, and the parents love each other. Okay, so that kid is going to grow up kind of messed up. This is why the whole world is dysfunctional, by the way, because of families are dysfunctional. It's the only reason. If families were functional, the whole world would be amazing. It is an amazing world. Look at all the resources. Look at the sun, sunsets and this sunrise and all, like the nature and trees and birds and butterflies and like how amazing nature is and how amazing the world is. And yet, people like call it dysfunctional. People call it like it's such a hard life and everything's so difficult. No, it's only because of this that things are difficult. The problem they've caused. Okay, like it's ridiculous to be thinking about it, but it's gonna harm her kids, her grandkids, her great-grandkids, and her great-great-great-grandkids. Now, having said that, does that mean that you guys who've done this in the past, who've slept with women and left them, that you guys have caused this problem and now, life is over now, you've destroyed yourself and, you'll never have integrity now? No. I'm saying this is what happens, but you can stop, okay? You can make it a priority to never sleep with the woman that you're not committed to for life ever again. Ever. And if you're still a virgin, stay that way until you understand female nature and you're ready to commit for life.
They may or may not realize it, but when they go on a date with a guy, even if you're not, quote unquote, in the limelight, even if you maybe not even considered high value, if in that date she determines, oh my gosh, this is a guy I can see myself with, a lot of women are already imagining the wedding that day. Now,
told you.
Some people might say that's crazy. No, it happens for real. But yes, as you mentioned, when you're an influencer, when you're someone who already has a public image, they're coming into it now because they've already made up in their mind that they want you like that.
The higher value man, the more fantasy she's gonna have, the more into the relationship, the more emotionally involved she's going to be. Okay? So this is a problem for high value guys. Okay? This is not so much of a problem for guys that don't go on dates and all that stuff, obviously. But since you're part of this men of high value movement, you're going to enter into this very quickly. Like, women will want to date you a lot, okay? Which causes a problem if you don't understand this from the get-go and you don't participate in the men of high value community and don't understand this stuff, okay? And it doesn't suck just for the women. It sucks for you, obviously, because like I told you, they have a problem.
The date was just to confirm, so to speak, at that point. And so now, yes, I literally have a video called "You Will Always Be the Bad Guy," because for men in general, when you don't give that woman what she wanted, she is not.
Just want to make sure that the video is functioning. Looks like it, right? Yeah, it looks like it.
Now going to view you as an F-boy. She is now going to view you in a negative light. Even in scenarios where we discussed what this is and we agreed upon whatever structure.
Whatever structure was that, let's just be friends with benefits. Maybe we should just, sleep together for one night or 2 nights, and let's just have fun this weekend, okay? Let's just enjoy the moment and be together, blah, 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 okay? These are the kind of agreements that men enter into with women, okay? Friends with benefits and all that crap. Guess what? Guess what? The fact that you enter into an agreement of friends with what is it? What's it called? Friends with benefits. The fact that you enter into that agreement causes you to be high value in the first place. Why is it high value in her eyes? Because there's a scarcity, okay? And there's a demand. The fact that you're not committed, the fact that you're unavailable causes you to be high value in the first place. That's a problem. Okay, so don't enter into that sphere. Don't even go there, because it's the woman. She's wired a certain way for a reason. I don't want to explain all of this properly because it is what it is. Okay, and I don't want to encourage you guys to go out there and do this crap. Right? So I don't want to tell you how it works in many ways. I just want you guys to understand that this is how it works. And if you do understand how it works, then I hope that you have some integrity, that you have some care, okay? Even if you don't care that much as a man, because, I'm a man, I don't care. Use some care, okay? Because you're not a lonely island on this, on this planet. You're part of a group, and this group is humanity. It's society at large, and you're basically screwing the entire society at large when you do what these guys are suggesting. You know, friends with benefits, tough stuff, not good.
If it doesn't align with what she really wanted, there will still be backlash. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't ever want to say every woman does this, but it happens a lot. I would argue the majority. You know what I'm saying? And for any woman who says, nah, well, have you met that guy you even view in that high of a regard? Because that's where it gets tricky. It's one thing if you're just thinking he's okay, I kind of like him. This won't happen. But when you view him like, oh my gosh, he's damn near a unicorn or a unicorn, I cannot pass this up.
You understand that men are wired to be to have multiple partners? We're wired for it. And we're wired in such a way that it actually isn't that big of a deal, the actual act itself. And there are a lot of unseen consequences of you sleeping around that will affect your life personally, okay? Not even thinking about the consequences for the women. I'm telling you, bad consequences that enter into all players' lives. All of them, okay? But however, having said that, what was I going to say again? Let's go.
But when you view him like, oh my gosh, he's damn near a unicorn.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that men, multiple partners, that's how we're wired, and if we retain them, it's such an amazing blessing. Like joy, bliss, and happiness. If you manage to retain 3 women and they harmonize together and you create an amazing family out of it. Amazing how that would work, okay? When you do it right, okay? On the other hand, are women wired the same way? Aren't we both the same way? No. Women are wired to obsess about one man. Okay, so in many ways, they're wired for monogamy, so to speak. And today's world, you know, it's a monogamous world, but we're not living monogamy. But that's basically what women want everyone to believe that we're kind of living. But that's, and then we end up ending up, you know, being poly people because everyone sleeps with everyone in many ways. Like and if they don't, they will, because they'll break up with someone and then they'll do monogamy again. You know, and then they'll fail at that one, and then we end up having poly, even though it's monogamy, if that makes sense. But I'm just basically telling you that women, once they find a high-value man, it's the highest value man that is in her life, that is interested in her, they're going to be obsessed. This is how they're wired, meaning they're going to be loyal, meaning they're going to be in the now for their entire lifetime, okay? In the now. So that might change if he messes things up in the future, obviously, because then, you know, at any point in time, emotions come and go, right? It's the same thing for women, but the intensity of her emotion will say that the now is so amazing that I already have this guy for the rest of my life. And that's a beautiful thing, okay? The more burdened a woman becomes, so the more manly she becomes as masculine features. This is because of men, by the way. Not women's fault that they're masculine. It's men's fault that women are masculine. Oh, I want a feminine woman. Why are women so masculine? It's your fault, and if it's not your fault, it's all the other men's fault for women being masculine. Because she became masculine because she was burdened by men, and now she doesn't trust men, which means that she wants to be independent, which means that she wants to provide for herself, and she doesn't want to trust anybody, especially men. And since she doesn't want to trust men, this now emotion actually fades away. She basically, the more masculine she becomes, the more she chips away at the now. Until she no longer has a now, unless she uses stimulants, drinking, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, okay? Drinking alcohol. You get my drift, okay? She will seek the spike of emotion because she has none. She's emotionally dead inside, the more masculine a woman becomes. This is why women are like, oh, I have such a problem, I don't know what to do. They're burdened. That's it. And they have no now. Meaning, every time she wants to feel good, which is like all the time, she needs stimulants in order for her to feel anything. And she was designed and wired to feel. That's her life mission. And we're screwing that over by burdening women and putting them where? In the past and in the future, but not with positive emotions. Because she never feels happy in the now. Guess what she feels about the past and the future? She feels regret and embarrassment about the past, okay? And then she feels fear, and depression about the future. This is the lot of masculine women who've been screwed over by who? Feminine men. What is feminine? Being low value, being immediate gratification, desiring things right now without thinking about the consequences of those actions. That's feminine. That's low value. That's a man being in the now without thinking about the past and the future. If he had been thinking about the past, he would have understood history from case studies and done his, proper due diligence, understanding what happens to women when they sleep around. Have you done your due diligence of what happens? Okay, then you understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then you're going to be like, oh no, I know women that actually want to sleep around. They create win-win situations. Bro, they're in the frickin' now. And if they're not in the now, they're masculine, meaning they want the now as much as possible. How do they get the now? From drugs, alcohol, and from sex with strangers. Spike of emotion, remember? They can't feel anything, so they want to feel something. The more masculine they are, the easier it is to sleep with them. Why? Because they need it. It's a powerful, powerful video. Oh.
Or a unicorn, I cannot pass this up. Now, some women will try to convince themselves, well, let me just try to be his friend. No, but you really want a relationship. And now when he doesn't give you the relationship, you make him the bad guy. But the other reason why you become the bad guy, and I've explained this in the video, is because in order for her to detach herself emotionally, she has to create a negative image of you. If she...
Yeah. Not only this, but women were designed to blame men. Women were designed to blame men. That's a positive thing, not a freaking negative thing. Why is it positive that women blame men and that they're designed to blame men? Why do you think that is? Why? I'll tell you. It is because the moment you blame or anyone blames anyone else, guess what you do? You're giving away your power. I'm going to say that again. The moment you or anyone else blames, they give away their power. Who do you want to have power in the relationship between you and a woman? You want the woman to have the power in the relationship? No. We don't want women to have power in the relationship because then emotion will be the master of the relationship. We don't want emotion to be the master of the relationship. We want your rationality to be the master of the relationship. Okay? So when a woman blames you, what actually happens? She's giving away her power to change. This is fantastic because a woman cannot change consistently over a long period of time. And what I mean by that is it takes 30 days for a habit to become, to start becoming a reality. And then you need 60 days in order for that habit to actually become reality and cemented. Well, guess what? Every single 28 days, women have something called their reproductive cycle. What happens in their reproductive cycle? They're not able to be consistent. Okay? Their emotions become like this. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel like doing that. And the only way for them to actually get through that, that period of time is by being masculine. If they're actually, if they move towards masculinity, yeah, they'll begin to become consistent and they'll do something until it's a habit. But it's gonna kill their emotions and it's gonna kill them emotionally over time. Not only emotionally, but killing them emotionally will kill them physically over time as well. Okay, well, what was I saying? I was saying something important. Hold on.
Convince themselves, well, let me just try to be his friend. No, but you really want a relationship. And now when he doesn't give you the relationship, you make him the bad guy. But the other reason why you become the bad guy...
Blame. I was explaining blame. Blame, the woman gives her power away when she blames, right? When you blame, you give your power away. And the one thing that men want more of, the one thing that women are massively attracted to is what? Power. Women are wired to blame because they're wired to give you the freaking power, man. Don't you see it? It's simple. It's crystal clear. Women are attracted to power. What is power? It's the ability to do. What is the ability to do? It's basically if you're able to do something, you're going to have confidence. If you have confidence, guess what? Women are attracted to you. This is how it works. And then they're in a relationship with you, and guess what? They're designed to blame you for everything that goes wrong in the relationship. Everything that goes wrong in their lives. Everything that happened in their past. It's your fault. Why? So you can take that stuff and then sift between the things that you can act upon and change, okay, that you can improve upon. You take that information. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna improve. It was my fault. It is my fault. It is my responsibility to heal you. And you know what? There's some other stuff here as well. You don't tell her this, but there's some other stuff here. I'm just gonna quietly put it in the trash can. Okay? Because this is not important in our lives. She vented. She got it out. She blamed you. Fantastic. Thank goodness. The more women blame men, the better. And we need to, as men of high value, take that blame, and then we'll know what to do with it.
Guy, and I've explained this in the video, is because in order for her to detach herself emotionally, she has to create a negative image of you. If she continues to hold on to a positive image of you, she has to look at herself in the mirror, and that's not easy to do. And she now has a harder time letting go or accepting that this doesn't work. I also want to throw in there that I always make the argument that women know connection better than men. They know when the connection's there or not. They understand that spiritual level better.
Huh? You think? They have, okay, the same way that men have 10 to 12 times more testosterone than women, I'm beginning to believe that women actually have emotions more intensely about 10 or 12 times more than we do. Okay? So when you feel that you feel something, whatever, yeah. Remember, in your brain, women feel it 10 times stronger than you do. Okay, it's just an arbitrary number. Maybe it's 2 or 3 times, but I can promise you they have more intense emotions than we do. Which means they're more connected with what? The universe. Okay? They're more connected with people around them. They can feel things. They have an intuition that men will never ever manage to live up to in terms of, skill sets. Women are amazing once you begin to understand their true full nature and potential. Okay? They don't know this very often, okay? But we should know this. And we should help them to fulfill their true potential. That's our job as men, okay?
But when they meet a guy they really want, they completely forget about connection. It doesn't even exist anymore in this dynamic because they're locked into what they desire. And this is where things get tricky. And so, yeah, as you...
They lost connection? What? What is he saying?
Connection better than men. They know when the connection's there or not. They understand that spiritual level better. But when they meet a guy they really want, they completely forget about connection.
When they meet a guy they want, they completely forget about connection? What? What are you talking about? When they meet a guy they want, they're automatically connected. There's no forgetting about connection. They're connected now. What? What is he talking about?
It doesn't even exist anymore in this dynamic because they're locked into what they desire. And this is where things get tricky. And so, yeah, as you said, the problem then becomes I can go on 10 dates in the next 2 weeks. They could all be great women, but that doesn't mean you're the woman for me or I'm the man for you. But now I'm in a position where I'll have to let down 10 women who will now start to look at me as, oh, he ain't what he said he was or whatever. No, I was honest the whole time.
Who cares about your freaking honesty, man? It's dishonest to go on a date with a woman, emotionally involve her, get her fired up and excited, okay? Get her juicy and all, whatever, right? And then you're just like, nah, I'm not interested. Especially if you slept with all of them, which you probably did. Because most women actually want to sleep with you on the first date if you're a freaking high value man. Okay? I hope they see this video. Man, it would be so cool if they reacted to my video, man. Which they never will. But just, bro, okay? Dating should be a thing of the past, okay? Obviously, during the transition phase towards 3 in love and all that stuff, yes, We will have to emotionally involve women somehow, somewhere, but I'm gonna figure out a freaking way to do it that doesn't have to emotionally involve them as much as people do during a dating process, you know, in the modern dating world. Because dating sucks and dating screws women over, okay? Like I had a girlfriend before I got married, okay? And she loved me a lot, but she dumped me, okay? But she began loving me a lot once I left and I didn't come back. And she wanted me back and I didn't want to go back, okay? That's when she began to like, oh, actually maybe I made a mistake, blah blah blah. But she's an amazing woman. Now she told me at one point, actually I found out this information because we had a good friendship, you know, that lasted longer. But she told me later that, you know, it's not just sleeping with people that makes you have an emotional connection, okay? Like just making out might potentially create that intense connection. She was a virgin at that time, and you know, and I was a virgin at that time, so we never slept together, but we made out. She had an intense connection with me. So it's not just sleeping with women that actually creates that connection. It could literally just simply be that you made out with her. If she had an intense connection with you and there was massive emotional involvement and it went over a long period of time. Okay, like obviously if you meet a girl at a party and she can't remember anything, what happened, of course she's not going to think about you forever. I'm just saying that, you know, for a period of time, I was the highest value man for this girl. That's why she thought about me and was thinking about me for years after that because of that. Okay, so just kind of mentioning to you guys that as part of this community, we will figure out a way, and I think probably the best way to do it is by involving their, you know, well, rule number 1, don't sleep with a woman. Rule number 2, don't kiss her, okay? If you want to get to know a woman and you want to introduce her to 3 in Love, you know, eventually, I'll explain the dating system for those that I coach, okay? You want to understand 3 in Love? Okay. Then sign up as a coaching client with me and you'll learn a lot about women. It's funny because, you know, that's kind of how Luisa started out with coaching with me. He just wanted to learn about women, really. And, you know, whatever, you know, all that stuff. And then he ended up learning tons of stuff about business and money and, you know, everything else. But, you know, just for you guys that want to learn this stuff in depth.
But it doesn't matter because now they're in disappointment. You know what I'm saying? And so again, it just goes back to where as a man, you have to be very mindful. And this is why you have to, you can't even take dates unless you really feel like this has at least the potential to go somewhere. You see what I'm saying? If you know for a fact there is no potential whatsoever, you just want to have a good time, be very careful. Because you're
don't do it at all. Okay, like so he's beginning to lean towards, you know, be careful and be nice towards women. Don't involve them, you know, type of thing. Only if you see that there's potential. If you see that there's potential, she probably feels that there's potential. Okay, so in my opinion, you shouldn't date at all until you understand what I'm talking about.
Setting it up for disappointment. You know what I'm saying? At least if there's potential, we can't guarantee it's gonna work out and someone's gonna be upset no matter what, but it's tough, bro. It's tough.
Isn't it better that men are upset, like sad? But that won't happen for a man of high value. That's the thing. Like, we don't get upset. If it doesn't work out with a woman, it's not a big deal. She dumped me? It's not a big deal. For men of high value. Now, a lot of you guys will be like, she dumped me in a man and I've been thinking about her for 20 years. And I'm like, bro, there's plenty more fish in the sea. Like, come on. Like, from a rational standpoint, it doesn't make any sense to cry over a woman that has dumped you. Okay? There's plenty more fish in the sea. But women don't work that way. You gotta understand, women are different when it comes to that because they'll think about one fish, okay, you, the man of high value, for the rest of her life. If you literally are the highest man of high value she's been with, if that makes sense.
No, he struck a nerve. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, he hit it every nail on the head. And I remember telling, you know, some of my guy friends when they had woman trouble and they feel bad because it didn't work out. I'm like, fam, she gonna have to hate you for her to get over you. Like, you have to accept it. And, you know, depending on the woman's character, she may send you some stuff that you might not like reading. She may, you know, do some things on social media that she shouldn't do.
Depending on her character? No. Depending upon her ability to suppress herself, she won't vent it out. okay? Women only do crazy stuff because they're venting. What is venting? It's a pressure cooker, okay? You boiling water, blah, 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 pressure cooker, okay? At one point, it boils over. This is venting. This is like trying to get the steam out. Women are designed to vent. What happens if they don't vent and they suppress it? Well, guess what? It's like this big black ball that sinks into their bodies, okay? Obviously not physically, metaphorically, but it weighs on them forever unless they finally get to vent it at some point in time. This is how traumatic experiences basically happen, okay? Rejection. Women were not designed to be rejected by men, especially sexually rejected. It is one, if not the worst rejection that you can do to a woman, sexual rejection. It is a core foundation of who she is. She's a sexual creature, and you literally rejected her nature and her sexuality. Oh my gosh. Okay. I hope that I'm bringing a lot of guys to a recognition of how this works so that they can stop digging their own grave and the graves of a lot of people.
And let me just jump in. She may even create a false narrative. All right, and I don't want women to think we're attacking them right now, but this is just reality. We've lived this, we've seen this. Every story you're hearing about what this man did was not the accurate story. It was the story she created to make her the victim and to make him the big bad guy who hurt her so she can come out looking clean, gaining sympathy, all right? And now you don't tarnish this man's reputation and image to make things easier for you emotionally. This happens a lot more than people think. And I don't want people to think that we're saying this in a way that...
Do you know why this happens? Okay, first of all, you gotta understand the intensity of women's emotions, okay? That's one thing. But also understand their desire for escalation. Women are designed to escalate things, okay? It's not just men who escalate things, women escalate. Okay, when something happens to them, they desire equality. The moment you've dumped her, you've made her look bad. You've destroyed her in many ways, right? Meaning she feels now vulnerable and inferior to you. Okay? So what happens? Well, she wants to escalate things, meaning she wants to hurt you, and she wants to hurt you the worst possible place. And in many ways, there is nothing better for a woman to hurt you with than ruining your reputation. This happens, like they say, a lot. Okay? Now, is that a woman's fault for doing so? No. Why? Because it was put there by a man who screwed her over. Women are angels if they have an angelic environment. Women are devils if you don't understand them and put them in an environment where they're fish out of water. Okay? So you gotta learn how to create a proper environment for women so that they're happy all of the freaking time. Because if you do manage to do that, you'll be happy forever. Okay? Because that's the most important relationships that you have with your intimate partners. If that relationship doesn't work out, like your life sucks. Okay? Do you know how much it sucks to get a divorce? It sucks. Anytime. Why would you even get there? The only reason is because of ignorance.
You know, there are some situations that, yes, the man was an asshole, excuse my language. He did do wrong, and it was valid what she's saying. But there are tons of examples of where women misconstrue or twist things to make him seem like he's the bad guy. Because again, what woman wants to go back to her girl? If she done spoke to her female friends about how amazing you were, she about to go on this date, oh my God, he's this great guy, all this other stuff. Now she got to come home and say, he ain't want me? Hell no. Hell no. That's not going to be her response.
Well, yeah, she kind of will, actually. She'll be crying, she'll be hurting, her girlfriends are going to comfort her, maybe try. But you know what the girlfriends really are going to do? They're going to trash talk you, okay? Now, and then she's going to be like, oh, wow, you're right. Oh, you know, I hadn't thought about that. And then she's going to imagine that those things probably are true, and then she's probably going to act as if those things are true, and then she's basically spews out all these allegations on you that might not be true, but she believed them because how else can you make sense of this? How can you make sense of a man dispensing of me, okay, as a woman? It's not possible. It's not possible. All men want me. Why doesn't he want me? It just, in her brain, it's just like, doesn't work. And she'll think about it again and again and again and again. And it goes through her brain maybe for 20 years, okay? The more feminine of a man you are, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you might have stewed over someone for that long of a time. But women do that, like, a lot, okay? If not all the time, with high-value men.
She's gonna find some way. In most cases, there may be some very honest women that will say that, but in most cases, she's gonna have to now figure out how do I present this to make it. No, I didn't want him, or he did this, or it was blah 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 to make herself seem come out looking clean.
Yeah. No. This is a fantastic point, and by God's grace, a lot of the girls I did are very high character women, so they give me rave reviews. but
Douchebag.
And so with them, but they share it in a respectful way. They will say something like, "Oh, we just didn't work out," which may or may not be the truth, but that's what they share. But for a lot of people, I know that's not the case. I know people who.
So what's your best relationship advice?
For sure, the number one thing that impacts relationships is people's attachment style. It impacts your romantic relationships, your
Attachment style.
Who sent you messages? and like you said, they changed the whole story. And that's what I always tell women to be careful of. When you're hearing men and women, let's use men and women. We can pick women. Let's use men and women. I encourage people that some people aren't telling the full story about the entirety of the relationship. They're only telling their side to make themselves look good. This is my personal opinion. Are there women who've been abused by men? 100%. Yes. Are there women who've been cheated on by men? 100%. Are there women who've been in an unhealthy relationship with the wrong guy? 100%. But in my personal opinion, that's the minority, not the majority. And so in a majority of relationship settings, there...
Is having sex with a woman abuse? Or a emotionally dysfunctional relationship? In many ways, if you're having sex with a woman and you dispose of her, not good. Not good at all. Right? It's borderline of in a different society. Maybe in the future it will be something that's actually maybe penalized. I don't think it should be penalized because I hate laws and I hate the government having laws and all that stuff. But in general, I think it is penalized though, but from nature, and it'll have its own lessons for those involved.
There are two victims and two villains. You and I. I've done wrong to you. You've done right by me. I've done right by you. You've done wrong to me. We've done good and bad to each other. And so whenever I'm talking to somebody and they can never articulate what you did wrong in a situation, usually to me that's a red flag to you're always viewing the guy as a bad guy. And it's only a matter of time before I become the bad guy too when you don't get your way with me. And that's the part where I encourage guys. I did a video on it and Derek Jackson responded to it. But I was trying to encourage guys, accountability is important. When you talk to a woman and you ask her, okay, how was life relationship? How things go with this guy? If you don't hear any part of the story where it's like, he was a great guy, but we didn't work out. He was like, if there's nothing positive about no guy, it's always he was a bad guy.
And
what does that mean? It means that she was burdened. Okay, the more masculine she is, the more of a bad guy she's gonna think the guy is. Because all guys are like this. All guys are douchebags. All guys are not trustworthy, etc. Which is kind of true if they're all sleeping with her, by the way. Okay, but in the more feminine a woman is, the more unburdened she'll be about the situation. And maybe he broke up the right way, or maybe they actually just agreed on it, and maybe she didn't feel it, and so they separated, or whatever. But that's the thing. Like, if a woman kind of breaks up at the same time with you, then she's not going to have that big of a deal. The problem is when you break up and she was not expecting that at all, and she has future plans for your relationship.
To piggyback on that, for men, because I'm sure there are men who are pumping their fists because they've gone through this. The thing is, when you're in the midst of this type of situation, do not try to battle the woman. Don't try to sit there arguing back and forth. Listen, one, like you said, take accountability for what you did do wrong. Because there are some things, like even in my situations, I realize, okay, you know what? Maybe I wasn't clear enough here. Maybe I did misunderstand this. I will acknowledge that and take responsibility for those things.
they're only talking about sexual relationship here, by the way. Okay, when he says, maybe I wasn't clear, maybe there was a misunderstanding about what? Yeah, about us having sex together. The fact that you're having sex with the woman basically shows her that you want to be with her for life. In her hindbrain, maybe not in the front here, but that doesn't matter, does it? Because it's the hindbrain that's connected to her heart, okay?
State your case as far as whatever false narrative or things that she may be wrongly accusing you of, but don't sit there trying to go back and forth. Because all you're going to do now, here's the crazy thing. Even if it was a false narrative, a lie being told, she will now use this new battle that you went back and forth with her about, that you may now say some messed up things, to now use that as the justification. You're only feeding, feeding her story with negativity. Don't give her more negativity. Just take responsibility for what you did do wrong, state your case for what wasn't, the way she thinks it is or how she wants to present it, and that's it. You leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? And you keep it moving. But there's no way we can control. Like right now, there could be tons of people making fake stories. Can't control it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's big, man. I think, like you said, you have to be very mindful who you date nowadays. And I understand that, and I realize that because when you sit down with us one-on-one, it's gonna be hard to resist because the resume's so good. The resume's really good. So it's like I understand that, like, that I don't like making women feel bad, and I don't like them telling me, like, what I did wrong and all those different things. So in order to combat that, I just have to make sure that I choose wisely of who I date.
And it's so sad because I kind of, out of all these three guys, I like the guy in the right most. Okay, so this guy, the high character, high value guy, with the shirt, obviously, because he's actually a good guy. Like, I know that I would get along with all of these guys if we had a chat together or whatever over dinner or whatever. Like, of course. And I wouldn't bring this up this way that I'm bringing it up today, obviously. And they're awesome guys. Go subscribe, whatever. But he just lacks the information. He's just ignorant on this subject. And he's just following the crowd. And the crowd is Hafiz. And the crowd is Stefan Speaks. And the crowd is all of these guys that he's getting relationship advice from of, this is how you find your woman. You should date around. You should date as much as possible. It's a horrible advice. And... but otherwise, he'd probably be an amazing guy simply because he cares about them. And so I like what he says about, guys should be very careful about who they date. I say don't date at all, okay? Voluntary celibacy for a period of time, temporarily, until you understand female nature and what it takes in order for her to be retained, and also building up your financial foundation so you never, ever have to worry about financials ever again.
All those different things. So in order to combat that, I just have to make sure that I choose wisely of who I date.
And listen, no matter how wisely you choose, you may still. we have to kind of just understand. Like I've come to accept, if I go on 3 dates next week, I may end up the bad guy after it's all said and done.
Yeah.
I can't. You know what? I'm done stressing that. I'm done. Because now what happens is you end up living in this self-imposed prison because you're always worried about how people are going to take things the wrong way. You just have to make sure.
It's not about worrying if people are going to take things the wrong way. It's understanding what way they're going to take it. And it's the same thing every time if you end up not involving that person in your life for life. Right? So it's not like be very, very interesting to figure out a system for how to not date. Okay, very simple. I should have said it in the beginning, but the main way to make it happen is obviously the voluntary celibacy thing. If you do go on dates with women or communicate a lot, etc., okay, you will become emotionally involved, sure, but it won't be as intense as if you guys actually kiss and sleep together. So, but you can keep this communication over a long period of time, and then you eventually meet the family. For me, I think that's the perfect solution, because you you're emotionally involving yourself into her life now, into her family's life, into everyone's life, but it gives you a chance to understand what's going on, and the family sees how amazing of a guy you are. Because you've set everything up the right way, and you understand female nature, and you've got amazing people skills, and you're the best guy that they've ever seen. And when you then say that you only are a 3-in-love guy, they'll actually respect that, and they'll literally give over their daughter to you. you know, give over their daughter. I mean that in the most respectful sense of this, you know. Obviously, she's the one who's making the choice, but it's fantastic when you get a stamp of approval from her friends and family as well, right? Because then you don't need to date in the modern sense of the word. And what is dating is basically becoming physically intimate with the person. And in my opinion, that is a horrible way to go about dating.
Make sure you're doing your part. You know what I'm saying? As a man, make sure you're being respectful. Make sure you're being honest and transparent. Make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that you're not giving any blatant ammunition for them to use. If they create their own, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I think who told me that before? Was it Devon Franklin on the Patreon episode? Yeah, he was like, Chris, as you continue to get better, level up, you know, improve yourself, we're going to desire you. If you don't want them for whatever reason, you will be the bad guy.
Yeah. So basically,
Did you know there is one 5-word question?
Thank you guys so much for watching. It's absolutely amazing to have this channel and to share my thoughts with you guys. I love this community. I love the Men of High Value movement. It's all about integrity. It's all about honesty. It's all about truth. It's all about understanding how the world works and how femininity works. Understand the woman, you will understand the world. And not only will you understand the world, but you'll understand what to do, when to do it, in order for you to optimize your joy, bliss, and happiness forever. Having said that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.